There we are. Hello.
It's all very exciting.
Sure.
David Causton is in the chat room. Now, we haven't
Hello, David.
heard from him for a very long time. Hope you're well,
a couple
sir.
of weeks ago, wasn't he?
I stand corrected.
Yeah, no, well, but I think you were away when he last popped in, Mr. Packers.
Yes.
But other than that, yes, a long time.
Yeah.
Yes. I assume one is still in sunnier climes, Mr. Causton.
What? He's I think it was Spain. David was in. I can't remember. Yeah, somewhere warmer than it currently is here, I think.
It's quite nice during the day.
Yeah, we have actually had some nice weather this week.
He's in Jerez.
Or
or as some people pronounce it, Jerez, Mr. Smith.
Oh, Jerez. Oh, is that
You have pronounced that like that previously.
He's under duress.
Yeah. That does sound like something I'd do.
Yes, I've not been to Jerez. Bit of Formula One circuit there, I seem to recall, back in the day. That would be nice, wouldn't it? And we haven't got long to wait before the Formula One season starts in Melbourne. I think it's, 14th to 16th, isn't it? Yes, of March. So that'll be good.
And he'll be looking forward to that.
Yep. The last time I went to, the season opened this year is in Melbourne, Australia, and Albert Park. The last time I was there, they were running the V10s, so that was 2003 and 2004. My goodness, they were noisy. You really did need your earplugs in because of the shape of Albert Park as well. But no, it's amazing. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, David says in the chat room there, we used to do F1 here.
That's what I thought, yes. Back in those days, I think they used to do testing, didn't they, at Jerez? I seem to recall as well. But they use Barcelona for that mainly now, I think.
Nigel Mansell. That's a name I've not heard for a year or two.
Well, yes.
I'm sure was it Nintendo or Sega or someone released a game endorsed by Nigel Mansell. It was one of them. I can't remember which one now.
Mr. Wilson says it was Sega.
Oh, thank you.
So
right, okay. Oh. Poo. Sorry. Okay.
Yes, I liked Brands Hatch for F1 as well, John. I'd been there. Oh gosh, I can't remember when it was last there, but before obviously the Silverstone got the contract for it. But another good circuit, I have to say.
Okay.
Hello, Bill. Good to see the family appearing in the chat room.
Oh, dearie me.
Oh, hello, Kevin. A name I've not seen in the chat room before. Kevin Wallander. Would love to see a modern F1 car at Nuremberg Ring.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I wonder if the runoff areas are big enough, though, because of the speed that those things carry into corners. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell you what, I used to love watching the touring car championships. I used to love watching those.
Yep, no, I'm a big fan of that. And it's back again this season. So, yes.
Who's got the rights to that on the TV this year, Nev? Do you know?
It's ITV4 again.
Okay.
But no, it's great coverage. And Steve Ryder and Louise Goodman, all that lot. They do a really good job. Yes, there was F1 at Donington. That was the European Grand Prix, Dirk. Forget which year it was. 1990 something, I think it was. But yes, the European Grand Prix was at Donington.
93, Andy's saying in the chat room.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah, there you go.
There we are.
It's almost like he's a big fan.
Yes, he is. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, enough F1.
Okay.
Stop effing about.
We are 10 seconds from clock. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and clock. Here we go then, everyone. Good luck.
Excellent news.
Okay.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Well, hello and welcome to episode 541 of the Plain Talking UK podcast. I'm Carlos, and in this week's show, Spirit Airlines are being compensated handsomely for ongoing Pratt Whitney engine issues. Both Boeing and Airbus parts are reaching Russia via India. #awkward. And the FAA mandates Boeing 737 next generation nacelle changes following a deadly 2018 CFM56 failure. In the military news this week, it seems that Boeing can't get a break now that cracks, if you'll pardon the pun, in the K-46 tanker's halt deliveries. And we discuss the ongoing issues that the manufacturer has with this aircraft. So joining me this week across the village here in the glorious Suffolk part of the UK, East Coast, here we are. It is, of course, our Lord of all things radio. It's Matt Smith.
I was going to say, what Lord of all things technical, I think, just trying to string everything together. That's it. It's working, that's the thing.
Well, you strung it well.
Well, and Nev will be delighted, because obviously we've started on time, which is always very important. Yeah, absolutely.
Always important. But good to see you, Mr. Smith, as always.
Thank you.
Yes, you had a good week this week so far?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, it's Thursday tomorrow. That's all. It's just a couple of days away from the weekend. Got a nice weekend planned. Actually, we've got some family stuff taking place in Lowestoft, and I'm looking after my favourite dog as well. So I think it's going to be families and walking on Lowestoft Beach. I can't wait. It's going to be
lovely.
Yeah. And if the weather's been like it has been the last couple of days, can't wait.
Yes, we are experiencing something. We've seen this golden, yellowy coloured thing in the sky for the last sort of 3 or 4 days, which we've not seen for so long. I've kind of forgotten what it was, Matt.
Well, quite, absolutely. It's a common problem.
and you can almost, the temperatures now, we're now getting at least double figures now during the day.
14 earlier today. 14.
Yeah,
it was,
it's lovely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And joining us as well this evening across the vales, fields, glens of the UK is, of course, our resident connoisseur of all things Seat 1A and BA. It's Neville Bounds.
Yes, here we are, back again for some more. I'm beginning to enjoy Wednesdays a lot more now, because I haven't got to work during the day. So that's actually quite nice.
Yes, how nice.
But yeah, so but no, we have to start with the medical hour, obviously. So what we're doing this week. So yeah, a bit of optician's appointments on Monday, where they blow that thing into your eye to test the pressure. That's a bit disturbing, I have to say. But
rubbish, isn't it?
So, yeah. But no, apart from that, all good. Thank you very much.
Good. You were saying earlier, Nev, you've got so much time on your hands now that you're but you're still keeping busy during the day, though.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a massive wardrobe clear out of suits, work shirts, Biamp, swag type shirts, all the things that I will no longer need. And I've got a lot more space left, I'm pleased to say. So we went to the big M&S store just at the top of the M25 on Monday and bought some bits and pieces. But I also noticed that there was the de Havilland Aircraft Museum not very far from there. So it's somewhere where I think we could do a bit of a visit to. I've not been there before. And of course, it's very close to Hatfield, where the de Havilland works were back in the day. So that'd be a nice thing to try and do. I've not been to that museum before, so it'd be nice to do that.
No, that'd be nice to see that. And I've never heard of that museum either, Nev. One of the ones I've not heard of. So, yeah, be good to see what's going on there. So we have got Andy with us this evening, but he's currently just partaking in some family kind of duties, dad duties, I think we'll call them this evening at the moment. But he will be with us shortly, hopefully, all being well. But we've got lots to get through on the show today, including a special piece of news at the top of the show about a certain birthday that's happening today, Nev.
Oh, yes. I've almost forgotten. The fella's looking younger every year, which is very depressing for everybody else. But it is Captain Al's birthday today, so we thought we should mention it. And I'm sure everyone in the chat room, if they've not already done so, would want to wish him a very happy birthday and many more of them. No doubt he's flying around somewhere today, but I hope you've had a chance to have a bit of a rest, Al, anyway, and many happy returns.
Yes, happy birthday, Al. From all of us here at the team, hope you're having a great. No doubt he's having some cake. Either that or ice cream.
I'm going to go with ice cream. Yeah, ice cream.
I think you're right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, Nev, it is that time of the year, or sorry, time of the month, I should say. Time of the month. Yes, I know, I'm getting ahead of myself. That time of the month where we say a special thanks to some awesome people in our PTUK family.
Indeed, it's the bit where you pay us money and we give you a show. That's the simplified version of it, but it's the Patreon donators and the PayPal donators. And this month they have come from Richard Adams, Derek Smith, Bill Aronek, Sam Dawson, Alex Robinson, Dirk S, Sasha Beer, Stephen Ivey, Nicholas Codling, Louis Kasharis, Alan White, Stephen Howland, Tanya Wyman, Nicholas Hewitt, Masha Hertz, Ruben Wells, Neil Lanwarn, Graham Haley, Jonathan Warner, Jordan Rose, Andrew Wilson, Captain Jeff, Adam Spink, Liz Piper, Jeff Ward, Stuart Backer, and Stephanie Plummer. And for those very kind folks that pay us by PayPal, that's Jennifer Parkinson and Mazuz Kareem. Thank you to one and all of you. It really does help us keep the show on the road in every sense of the word, and we couldn't do it without you. So we're very grateful for your generous donations as always.
Yes, thank you to everyone who helps us with the show. Very much appreciated to you all. So we've got our retro airline ad of the week this week. We're going to take a look at another airline that we've not shown on that segment of the show before. So it's a fresh airline, and we're going to go back to 1985 for that. So it's quite a nice fresh advert. But we've got some commercial news to get through. So if all the team is ready,
yes, we are.
Please take your seats and fasten your seatbelts.
So the first story this week's comes from flightglobal.com, and if you are the owner of Spirit Airlines, I think you're probably going to be quite happy with this. The headline is Spirit Airlines compensated $150 million for ongoing Pratt Whitney engine issues. So Spirit Airlines has received about $150 million in compensation from the engine maker Pratt Whitney for its grounded Airbus jets. and the carrier expects further payments as its geared turbofan or GTF engine removals will continue through at least 2026. Miramar, Florida-based Spirit says it's currently discussing arrangements with Pratt Whitney for any of its aircraft that remain unavailable for operational service beyond the end of 2024. They said, we expect to continue to receive compensation from Pratt Whitney for the loss of utilisation of the geared turbofan engines, it says. Details of Spirit's compensation agreement with Pratt & Whitney affiliate International Aero Engines, which provides Spirit with a monthly credit from October 23 through to December the 31st, were disclosed in a recent 10,000 or 10K filing with the US Securities and Exchange Commission. The amount is based on the number of days Spirit's A320neo family of jets have been out of service for engine inspections and repairs, and falls on the low end of the $150 to $200 million compensation package Spirit said it expected to receive from Pratt & Whitney in March 2024. Hundreds of A320neos and A321neos and A220 jets, as well as Embraer E190-E2 family aircraft, have been grounded on a rolling basis since Pratt & Whitney disclosed in July 2023 that a potential defect in the powdered metal used to manufacture some engine parts would require a widespread recall. Last month, roughly a third of the worldwide fleet of geared turbofan-powered jets was tagged by data analytics Serum as in storage, meaning they have been grounded for more than 30 days. Most are likely grounded for engine repairs. The inspections have been widely disruptive due to the months of long turnaround times from engine shops. And US carrier JetBlue Airways recently reported that an individual engine spends on average of about a year off the wing before returning to service. My word. The groundings have hit Spirit, which is working to emerge from a Chapter 11 restructuring sometime this month, particularly hard, says the carriers, with its 10K filing that is reduced, suspended or discontinued service in a number of cities, particularly as Serum data shows that 30 of Spirit's A320s and A321neos are currently sitting over in storage. So, I mean, they've obviously had to restructure. We talked about this, I think, a few months back on the show. Spirit had to do a bit of rejigging with the airline itself. But I'm going to guess that this $150 million compensation has probably helped ease the pain a bit, Nev.
Yeah, but if you think about the number of cancellations and schedule alterations that the airlines will have had to have made because of this, now obviously I'm sure there's some insurance funds somewhere from Boeing where they insure themselves against this sort of thing. But when you're into aircraft that have been taken out of service in the number that they are talking about, and when they're talking about an engine being off the wing for a year, I mean, this is big number stuff, isn't it? It's just eye-watering. And with the revenue difficulties that all the airlines have got at the moment, trying to get bums on seats and trying to operate profitably, this is not going to help. And almost no amount of compensation from Boeing can ever get them back to where they want to be, I would imagine. I mean, it's going to take years, isn't it? This is the problem. These are not quick fixes. And the trouble is it's many types of aircraft that are out of service as well. Sorry, when I said compensation, I meant from Pratt & Whitney, not from Boeing, obviously. But, of course, these are used in the A320neos, A321neos, and A220 jets, and the E190-E2s. So these are eye-watering numbers, aren't they? And you've got to wonder how they're going to recover from this properly.
It makes you wonder whether it works the same way, Nev, with airlines as like with me and you insuring our cars, here in the UK. You make a claim and your premium goes up because obviously they'll claim through an insurance, I'd imagine, for various aspects of this. And does this mean that when Spirit go to reinsure next year, their premiums go up? Or is that not the way it works in the industry?
Well, it's all about consequential loss, isn't it, really? I mean, in the business I've just left, there's some very, very large terms and conditions, or quite near the top of them, terms and conditions, in that the company will not be liable for consequential loss due to failure of our stuff, which very rarely happened, I have to say. But of course, in this world, we're talking about revenue generating and lack of revenue generating. It's ongoing, isn't it? And this is going to take years to sort out. Finally, so we'll just have to see. But the compensation goes some way towards it, doesn't it? But you have to wonder how much what sort of dent it really puts in it.
Obviously, Matt, you deal with insurance on a day-to-day basis, but it must be eye-watering when you're dealing with an airline, insuring an airline as opposed to a moped or a scooter.
Well, I don't know. I mean, sometimes some of the prices and stuff, it's a bit terrifying. I mean, the company that I work for, they specialise in what's the word? Like fast food delivery insurance. And, I mean, some of those numbers are ridiculous. Like, I mean, some of the policies that I've seen are like £4,000. You know, and you just think you've got to deliver an awful lot of pizzas to be able to do that. I mean, but as you were saying there, though, I mean, is this going to make it difficult to get insurance for this sort of thing again, though? Because that's the same, it's the same with any insurance, isn't it? It's like if you've got a bit of a, sort of something that's been going on as a result, will this mean that essentially going forward you won't be able to insure yourself against these sorts of problems?
Well, I think they have to. There's no alternative, basically. I think when you've got... The trouble is the salesman, and I include myself in that category, will have promised, the company would have promised real fuel savings from these aircraft as well, because they're all the next generation and Neo type of engines that are on these aircraft. And of course, the airlines flocked to them, and then they've now found that in some of them, they've got recalls and large maintenance issues. Now, airlines tend not to have that many spare aircraft hanging about that they can substitute. There might be one or two, but it's all about routes scheduling and changing, and it doesn't bear thinking about, does it? So money goes some way to compensating, but not that far, I have to say, from what I can see anyway.
Now, Matt, you've got the next story, and for those of you who live in the beautiful part of the UK called Devon, some sad news.
Yes, indeed. Do you know, I've got this really nasty feeling this isn't going to be the only one of this story that we're going to be reading, to be honest with you. Very sad news coming from the BBC on this one, and it is Devon Air Show cancelled due to funding problems. The Devon Air Show, which is usually attended by thousands of people, has been cancelled for this year. Its organisers have announced. The Teagemouth Air Show Committee posted a letter on Facebook, external, saying that the tough decision had been made to call off this year's event due to funding problems. Organisers said that the free-to-attend summer show, which was founded in 2019, was drastically short of the £90,000 it needed to operate. However, the committee said it was determined to bring back the air show in 2026 and will be exploring new funding and sponsorship opportunities. Unfortunately, the air show committee have made the tough decision that the Teagemouth air show will not be going ahead this year. The committee said this decision has not been made lightly, and we understand the disappointment it will bring to thousands of people who were looking forward to attending this summer. Previous editions of the show have featured displays from the Red Arrows and other RAF aircraft, including Typhoons and Lancasters. Organisers said the 2024 event was attended by thousands of people and cost £95,000 to host, with the money coming mainly from donations, fundraising and events and sponsorship. I mean, it is a tough year right across all sectors, really, isn't it? And I think that's the thing. Like last year, they were able to raise the money that was needed to do it, and there just isn't the spare cash around, I don't think, at the moment. This is the worry, and this is why I say I've got this really horrible feeling this isn't going to be the last sort of air show we hear being cancelled as a result of sort of funding issues.
It's such a pity, isn't it? And of course, it's the regional ones which are important, I think, as well. Not the ones that the normal ones that you would think about, but the ones that are scattered around different parts of the UK and Ireland as well. But I wouldn't want to be an air show display director or safety officer or the commercial manager. I mean, it must be so tough. And I remember talking to the guys in Jersey with you, Carlos. We went over there, and they were telling us, that the difficulties they were having, not just from the funding point of view, but the operational point of view, when aircraft go tech and that kind of stuff. And the trouble is, as Darren says in the chat room, it's a free air show, and that's the problem. You've got no revenue coming in from the public. It is a real shame. And of course, it's all about the safety. It always has been. And of course, since various things have happened at different air shows around the world, but particularly the big one, the south coast of the UK, at Shoreham, things have changed drastically. And I think that is playing a big part of this as well, what they can and what they can't do. But obviously, it is funding at the end of the day. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
As we know, it's not cheap to put these events on, these air shows, not just with obviously the crowd and looking after stuff like insurances as well. It's also obviously getting the acts in to attend these events, because obviously these display teams don't do it for free. There is a fee, a cost involved in that. And as you were saying, the insurance as well is a big thing. And we saw one of our favourite air shows here at Seething that obviously ended after quite a good run of events, down to the fact that it just cost a phenomenal amount to put these events on.
The majority is insurance again, though, isn't it? I'm sorry to say, it's just it's just so expensive to get the insurance for these things.
Yeah, it's a shame. But let's hope it's the only one we see this year, and perhaps it'll be back next year. We don't know.
I've got a really bad feeling, sadly, that this is just the start, I fear.
Right. Interesting story. I found this one online this week, Nev. It's something I didn't really... Well, I thought probably would happen, but didn't expect to see it.
Parts coming in through the back door. This is on simpleflying.com, and it says that Boeing and Airbus parts are reaching Russia via India. And Russian airlines have found a way to get their hands on otherwise inaccessible Boeing and Airbus parts. Western sanctions on Russia and its airlines in the wake of its war against Ukraine have meant that aircraft and spare parts are few and far between. India, however, has emerged as a black knight, buying parts from the West under the vice of a purchase that will terminate there before ultimately selling them to Russia. At least that's what a new report from Investigate Europe has demonstrated, with little reaction on the Airbus or Boeing side. Black Knights, supporters of the target regime that emerge in the wake of sanctions, can most commonly be caused by economic or political motives. In this case, Investigate Europe found that parts originating from the following companies had reached Russia via Indian intermediaries. And those companies are Boeing, Satair, which is an Airbus subsidiary, Superjet International, which is linked to Italy's Leonardo, not to be confused with the Superjet aircraft constructed by the Sukhoi Civil Aviation Company, and 100 plus other suppliers across Europe and the US. This emerged after reporters tracked customs data for over 700 individual pieces of cargo between January 2024 and September of the same year. It added that the value of the items totaled more than $50 million and included critical generators, sensors, propeller blades, cockpit displays, small screws, bolts and filters. Two firms were mentioned by name in the report, and that's Aerotrust Aviation and Ascend Aviation. Aerotrust, headquartered in Delhi, sold approximately $7 million in parts to Russia of which 80% can be traced back to the facilities of Western companies, according to the investigation's results. Aeroflot, the Russian flag carrier, emerged as the top buyer. Boeing also filtered parts through another Indian buyer, Ascend Aviation. This included things like valves, fasteners, fuel sealants, and a battery, and accounts for just part of the at least 80 cargoes sent by Boeing to India that would later be sent to Russia. Airbus's subsidiary Satair also sent 12 loads through Ascend Aviation between September 2023 and May 2024. The report found, amongst others, it said that Aeroflot and Ural Airlines were buyers. Gosh, what a tangled web that is, in terms of getting parts to other parts of the world where they're not really on speaking terms commercially with the manufacturers. That's unbelievable, isn't it? But that's going to happen, isn't it? I have to say, it's inevitable.
Just be good to know these parts are coming from somewhere where they are, logged and looked after, and you know where these things are coming from. So I just had my meal passed to me.
Very nice. Yeah. I think the other thing is about with regard to accident investigations and things like that.
Oh,
There's a big, big thing about parts accountability, where they were manufactured, who manufactured them, what shift they were on, and what line they were on, that kind of stuff. So this is going to play into that as well. If there's hopefully there's not a big moment, but you never know, do you? But yeah, something which I'd not really thought of before until you highlighted that report, Carlos. So thanks for doing that.
Yeah. It's I think they're always going to get the parts from somewhere. I think for these jets, and from what I've read on the news and stuff, after cannibalizing various aircraft that they have to keep other aircraft flying, which I don't think is the greatest way forward. But yeah, it's be interesting to see what happens going forward with this. I don't know, Andy. Andy, you back? You back with us? He's not there. No, he's not there. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Andy thinks about this. Obviously, being an Airbus pilot as well. But let's hope that they are doing this properly, and obviously sticking to the rules and regulations in regards to using spare parts on aircraft, commercial airliners.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was working for my company, which is primarily a US company, when sanctions broke out, we were told very clearly in the company that if anything like this happened, the company would be in serious trouble, and individuals would be in serious trouble as well. But there we are. With Andy not available at the moment, would you like me to take this next story, Colin?
Yes, if you don't mind, that'd be great.
Yeah. It's on paddleyourown.canoe.com, and it says that former cabin crew will face British Airways and an employment tribunal as part of a massive £514 million claim. Well, a discrimination employment tribunal case against BA over its handling of a cabin crew restructure during the COVID-19 pandemic began this week. This landmark case could have major repercussions for companies across the UK. The tribunal, which is expected to take up to 6 weeks, will hear from 38 former cabin crew members who claim that they were discriminated against by BA in early 2020 when the airline ripped up long-standing scheduling agreements that they had relied upon for family caring responsibilities. BA faces claims totalling more than £540 million after thousands of cabin crew were either made redundant or made to feel like they had no other choice but to resign due to the massive changes that the airline was making to its employment practices. At the time, British Airways had 3 separate cabin crew work groups at its Heathrow hub. Worldwide crew who only worked long-haul flights, Eurofleet crew who only worked short-haul flights, and a newer group of mixed fleet crew who were paid substantially less than other colleagues and employed on far less accommodating terms and conditions. In the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic, BA told veteran crew members that they either accept massive changes to their terms and conditions or face the possibility of being made redundant. The former cabin crew accuses the airline of unfair dismissal and discrimination, claiming BA plotted to use the pandemic as an excuse to get rid of the more expensive legacy crew. Fundamental to the claim against British Airways is the concept of indirect associative discrimination, which was only recently introduced into UK employment law. According to the Equality and Human Rights Commission, indirect associative discrimination is when a policy which discriminates against a protected group, such as women, because they are more likely to be carers, also discriminates against those who aren't part of that protected group but experience the same disadvantage. In the case of British Airways, this might also include male cabin crew who may also be carers. Last year, BA mounted a legal bid to dismiss these claims of indirect associative discrimination, but the equality watchdog and government intervened and BA's case was dismissed. That decision paved the way for the start of the tribunal earlier this week. This case is about holding BA accountable for what we believe was calculated and opportunistic mistreatment of its most experienced cabin crew, commented Tara Grossman, who's a partner at law firm Kepler Wolf, which is representing some of the crew. Gosh, that's quite a big moment, isn't it? If you think about it. I had heard anecdotally from some crew members at BA as I've been flying that this sort of thing had happened and people were leaving prematurely in some cases because their terms and conditions were being mucked about with. Now, this is obviously an ongoing case, so we can't really talk much about it, and also we don't know much about it either. We probably can't comment fully until there's been a decision and a verdict generated at the end of it.
How long is that like to take, do we know?
They're talking about 6 weeks.
Okay, oh, not too bad then. I had visions of like years sort of rumbling on,
Well, there might be appeals and all sorts of stuff, as you can imagine, but I think I've always found that, I mean, this is a massive overarching statement, but don't muck about with people's terms and conditions unless you've got agreement from them. I mean, because stuff like this is bound to happen, And
I guess, I suppose, if you need to adjust the terms and conditions, I can sort of get that in terms of, when you sign up to work for a company, then that's kind of fair enough, if you see what I mean. So, like, you're agreeing to those terms and conditions. All right, they might be rubbish in comparison to what others had previously, but I guess at least, if you haven't read your terms and conditions, then, that's on you, if you see what I mean, rather than anything like that. But I don't know how I feel about terms and conditions being changed, like, for those who are who are already employed. So you signed one contract, and essentially they're saying, well, unless you sign another one, bye-bye. And I'm sort of with them a bit on this one. I'm not normally one for, sort of like action of this nature. I'm a very obedient sort normally. But,
yes.
I do feel quite differently and quite strongly that this airline are in the wrong here. Yeah,
and I think that there's, again, I don't know any of the details at all. I've just heard sort of third and fourth hand information, but it does seem that there is a possibility that there could be some opportunistic stuff going on here. But we'll have to see and wait for the outcome of the tribunal case. But it's quite a big moment, actually, and it could set a precedent for other people and other airlines as well. So we'll have to keep a close eye on it and see what happens.
Agreed.
So, next story comes from simpleflying.com. And this goes back to some stories we've covered over the last few months. The headline, pilots should lose their license if they've made an error that resulted in an incident. Be interesting to hear your thoughts on this. An interview with Sean Duffy, the Secretary of Transportation, has claimed that pilots should lose their licenses if they have made an error that resulted in an incident, already circumventing the NTSBs by saying that some of the recent safety events involving US airlines could be pinned on pilot error. And in an exclusive interview with NBC Nightly News, Duffy responded to whatever he still shares the view which is expressed following the near miss at Chicago Midway International Airport, that pilots should lose their licenses if they make a mistake. He said, hell yes. The near miss at Chicago Midway involved a FlexJet Bombardier Challenger 350, November 560 Foxtrot X-Ray, and a Southwest Airlines 737-800. The former aircraft was crossing the runway on which the Southwest operating flight Whiskey November 2504 was landing, prompting the Southwest Airlines pilot to initiate a go-around. The 737-800 landed safely at Chicago Midway shortly after the go-around, as we covered a few weeks back on the show. And in response to the incident, which resulted in no injuries, Duffy posted on X, formerly known as Twitter, that it is imperative that pilots follow the instructions of air traffic controllers. If they do not, their licenses will be pulled. Meanwhile, the NTSB said that it was investigating the runway incursion involving the Challenger 350 and the 737, which occurred when the business jet entered the same runway in which a commercial aircraft was supposed to land. During the same interview, Duffy claimed that the string of recent events involving US Airlines aircraft, including but not exclusive to the mid-air collision over the Potomac River, the Delta Connection Mitsubishi Bombardier CRJ 900 landing incident in Toronto, Canada, and now the runway incursion at Chicago Midway could be tracked back to pilot error. While the Secretary of Transportation noted that all the incidents were unique, he stated, "But I do not think all of them, and again, not exclusively 100%, but a majority of the errors probably go to the pilots." In an interview with Fox News, Jennifer Homendy, the chairwoman of the NTSB, pointed out that the question of why the Challenger 350 was taxiing across an active runway will be answered during the investigation of the incident. Homendy added that the NTSB does not believe that this was an air traffic control issue and that it appeared to be a failure of the FlexJet flight crew to listen to and abide by the instructions given by the Chicago Midway ground controller provided to them. While Fox headlined the story by stating that the NTSB had already blamed the pilots for the incident even before the preliminary reports ink had dried, Homendy reiterated that during the interview that the board still had to conduct its all-important investigation.
Cool.
There we go. Bit of a strong thing to say, isn't it?
Well, I'm just amazed that the NTSB are doing this sort of public stuff on the hoof. The investigation's barely started, let alone concluded, and there's statements coming out left, right, and centre from all sorts of people. And I think they just need to turn it down a bit until they know the facts and they've pulled the ATC tapes and all the rest of it. I think Mr. Wilson is now back with us and can now contribute massively to this subject, I'm sure.
Hello? Oh, can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Nope.
Oh, not now. You started off nicely and then
you might be back. You might be back, actually. Try it again. No, okay.
No, he's gone again.
Ooh.
Andy? Oh, no.
Oh, dear. Oh, well, okay. Let's... yeah.
I'm sure Andy will comment on the on that story again in a moment. But while Andy's sorting his audio out, we'll move on to the next story. Matt, this is a great story. This is good news for anyone who is a foodie but has to fly from one of my least favourite airports here in the UK.
Okay, all right then. So UK's largest airport restaurant opens at London Luton Airport. This is on aviation24.be. Sanford's, a new American-style dining concept, has opened at London Luton Airport, becoming the largest restaurant in any UK airport with 480 covers across 12,810 square feet. Operated by TRGC, the venue offers a split floor dining experience in LLA's Departure Lounge. Ground floor, American diner serving classic US dishes and American-inspired British favourites such as cheeseburger, pizza and Philly cheesesteak. Sounds lovely. A mezzanine loft bar, a drinks-focused area with shuffleboard, cocktails and handheld bites like buttermilk fried chicken and loaded potato skins. Exciting stuff. LTN's Chief Commercial Officer praised Sanford's as a landmark opening, enhancing the airport's award-winning food and beverage offerings. The launch follows LTN's recent recognition at the 20 2024 Fab Awards for Excellence in Airport Dining.
Wow. It's a reason to go to Luton Airport.
My favourite.
Is it? It is his absolute favourite. Of course, we're talking about food. Of course he's back now.
Perfectly timed. Sorry, Zoom needed an update or something.
Oh,
hello.
did it? Yes, indeed.
Good to see you, Andy.
Andy, do you want to talk about, were you able to hear what we were saying about the BA tribunal case that's just started?
Well, the story I was meant to read, yes, I had a look at it. It's a bit crazy, really, isn't it? You know, there may have been long-standing scheduling agreements, but things have to change with the times, and the company's got to make money. I don't think anybody... If you think back, Nev, to all the jobs you've had in your long, illustrious career...
Just long.
Yeah.
Necessarily illustrious.
Even in my short 15 years in the game, you know, it's not the same job as it was when I started. And that's just the way it goes. It's progress. It's how things change. It's how the world changes. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. Very interesting. But I do have plenty to say on the previous story from the Secretary of Transport.
I bet you do. I bet you do. So off you go, mate.
Well, the very line that it's imperative that pilots follow the instructions of air traffic controllers. If they do not, their licenses will be pulled. Air traffic controllers make mistakes, just like pilots do. There's been several instances in the past where we've seen accidents occur, mid-air collisions, because people haven't followed TCAS. They've done as ATC have told them. And now a TCAS RA manoeuvre, you just completely disregard. And ATC, if you tell them TCAS RA, they will shut up and leave you alone until you're ready to talk to them again. So everybody makes mistakes. And this investigation hasn't even really started yet. So how people can be saying stuff like this, especially somebody in that position of power, is an absolute disgrace. Nobody's license should be pulled unless they do something that is grossly negligent and knowingly negligent. All airlines, most airlines in the Western world, operate a just culture where if you can justify your actions, then, okay, there might be some retraining, a bit of a telling off, maybe a official warning from HR or whatever.
Guidance.
But if you accept what you did, then they will take you back under their wing and they will retrain you and get you back on the line. So,
and also, perhaps other crews within the airline perhaps could learn from what happened if there was some sort of incident, because a lot of them will probably say, well, they're by for the grace of God go I, because, you know, many people could have been in that situation and it didn't escalate into a worse situation.
Absolutely.
So,
and that is the best way. Yeah. If a crew says, look, we did this, here's what happened, so you don't do it. Brilliant. Everybody learns. Yeah. And unfortunately in aviation, and most walks of life, we only really make big change when something bad happens. But if we have a close call, let's all learn from it and move on.
Yeah, I agree with you, Andy. I think the NTSB have been massively premature in speaking about it the way they have publicly. And you'd never get that from the AAIB, would you? I mean, no. It's just a ridiculous set of statements, though, coming out.
Forgive my naivety on this one. Is this a new thing, a new recent thing with this particular organisation?
Let's just say I think it's since the change of administration.
Okay. That's no further questions, my lad. Yeah. Okay. As you say, this is the trouble. It's like it's been. It's only just started this investigation. It's just like it is a worrying precedent, isn't it? That speculating and guessing is essentially happening, and I don't know. And
also, I think it's got the potential for some, high hours pilots, for example, even low hours pilots maybe, but more likely people that are more than halfway through their career going, do you know what, if this is the culture now, if this is what it's all about, I'd actually need that amount of pressure. I'll go and do something else, or I'll go and fly for somebody else, or come out of the Part 121 stuff or whatever it is. And we need flight deck and cabin crews desperately still. So we need to retain the people that we've got. And therefore, they have to operate in an environment which is sensible. And as Andy said, is one that has less of a blame culture, but more of a learning culture for everybody concerned.
So we're supposed to be promoting youngsters joining the world of aviation, not scaring them off.
Yeah, and also just a point here as well, Nev, that this is not the NTSB saying this. This is the Secretary of Transportation.
Quite, yes.
So the NTSB are still keeping themselves to themselves. It's just the higher power mouthing off, essentially.
Yeah, which is not ideal, is it? I don't think, anyway.
No.
Right, Mr. Bones, you've got the next story, and Norwegian must have found some of that money that Spirit just got given.
Yes, it's on aerotime.aero, and it says that Norwegian has reached an agreement to buy 10 Boeing 737-800 aircraft that the airline says already form part of its leased fleet. The carrier's strategic move was announced to the Oslo Stock Exchange on March the 3rd in what was described as a key step in securing the company's future fleet. Norwegian said it expects the agreement to be finalised by the end of March, and once completed will generate recurring cost savings of net financing costs of an average of around 200 million Norwegian kroner, which is $17.8 million per year. Additionally, on completion of the transaction, Norwegian expects to record a non-recurring gain of approximately 570 million Norwegian kroner, which is $50.7 million US dollars. This gain reflects the pricing the company has been able to achieve for the aircraft and the corresponding reduction of existing lease liabilities, the airline said. Norwegian hopes the move will enhance its financial flexibility in line with its long-term strategy and reduce overall ownership cost. The overall terms achieved are attractive for Norwegian, and the transaction fits well with our long-term fleet and ownership strategy, says Norwegian CEO Geir Karlsen. The aircraft being acquired are an integral part of Norwegian's existing fleet and will, through this deal, continue to operate across our attractive and growing route network. The move is expected to deliver both short and long-term cost savings, as well as providing additional flexibility for future fleet planning. The transactions will initially be covered by the airline's cash, whilst it secures long-term financing through a combination of arrangements. According to CH Aviation, Norwegian currently operates an active fleet of 31 Boeing 737-800s and 10 wet-leased 737-800s. The airline also operates 6 Boeing 737 MAX 8s, plus 3 more through wet lease agreements. And Norwegian is also awaiting delivery of 50 of their new 737-8s. I don't know whether that's Dash 800 or MAX 8s. Doesn't actually say.
It'll be MAX 8s because they're brand new.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. So yes, there's always fiddling around to be done with the spreadsheet when it comes to ownership of aircraft and who's paying for it and are they leasing it or do they own the thing outright. It's another one of those twists somewhere, I would say.
It's a smart move to have it on the balance sheet because then you can sell it if needs be.
Yep.
So it increases the worth of your company, and also you've paid for it, so when it's sitting around, it's not really costing you that much. Whereas if you lease an aircraft and it's sat on the ground for 3 days, that's cost you a lot of money in leasing fees.
Yeah, absolutely.
It does make sense.
Yeah.
Right. Next story comes to us to you, Andy, with this one,
Yes.
and it's we're going back to the issues with the CFM.
Yeah, so this is from flightglobal.com, and the FAA has mandated that 737NG nacelle changes are required following deadly 2018 CFM56 failure. The Federal Aviation Administration has finalised airworthiness directives, or as we call them, ADs, aimed at ensuring Boeing 737NG nacelle and engine components can better withstand forces generated by the CFM International CFM56 fan blade failures. Released on March the 3rd, the 3 orders respond to 2 incidents involving CFM56 failures that caused nacelle components to break loose and cause broader damage to the aircraft. One of those incidents in 2018 killed 1 passenger on a Southwest Airlines 737. The order affects some 2,000 US registered 737s, including the 600, 700, 800 and 900 series. The FAA is issuing this AD to address fan cowls that are not strengthened, which could, in the event of a fan blade out occurrence, depart the nacelle, potentially damaging a stabiliser or striking the fuselage and window, says one of the FAA's new orders. The agency is now requiring that carriers modify several nacelle and cowling components in 737NGs, which are powered solely by the CFM56. They must do so as detailed in a Special Attention Requirements Bulletin already published by Boeing. Specifically, airlines must replace engine cowl fasteners, modify radial restraint assemblies, and replace crushable spacers used in attachments connecting inlet cowls to fan cases. The FAA has previously said such spacers can reduce fan blade impact energy that will be transmitted into the inlet structure. Operators of 737NGs must also install bridge brackets to reinforce primary exhaust nozzles on some CFM56 engines. The agency says brackets can help prevent nozzles during engine failures from breaking loose and damaging an aircraft's fuselage or stabiliser. CFM, which does not make the nacelles, defers comment to Boeing. We support the FAA's final airworthiness directives that make mandatory a set of service bulletins that Boeing issued to next-gen operators in mid-2024, Boeing says. These ADs outline actions that will increase protections in the event of an engine fan blade out situation. Airlines can continually safely operate the aircraft with interim actions until these permanent modifications are made. Turbofans are surrounded by containment rings designed to keep engine components during failures from exiting the engine and its surrounding structure, preventing the components from causing more damage. But the 2 CFM56 failures that prompted the new rules involved blade failures that caused nacelle components to detach and strike other parts of the aircraft. And as we know in the case of the 2018 Southwest incident, the component struck and broke a window, and sadly 1 passenger died after being, it says sucked, you get blown partly out of the aircraft. The 2016 incident, which also involved a Southwest 737-700, did not cause injuries. In response to the events, Boeing agreed to develop modifications to the 737NG's inlet cowl, fan cowl and exhaust nozzle. And the FAA has set a date of the 31st of July 2028 for operators to incorporate these modifications. Well, there we go. So they found the weak points and now it's time to fix them.
Yeah, it's, gosh. I mean, even at idle thrust settings, these things are going around at a reasonable rate of knots, let alone toga or or takeoff power settings. And the fact that they've got until 2028 to fix them, there is potential for further failures, isn't there?
Yeah, and if you've seen the pictures that obviously were in that, the story we covered back, was it in 2018 when there was that incident? It was quite, shocking, the damage that was caused to the outside of that nacelle when that blade decided to come off. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, there is a picture. I don't know if Matt, if you've got that in the folder for that story. There's a picture of one of the engines.
Yeah, no, I popped
in all its glory. Yeah, they do look quite cool. Actually, I think they look quite nice, those engines. But issues that need to be sorted.
So much you can do so much testing, and you can test and test and test and test thing out of ordinary.
Oh dear. I think we've lost you, Andy.
Andy's having a slight issue with
you've frozen, unfortunately.
With signal there. Andy, we'll get him back. Don't panic. We'll get him back.
And there he was.
Right, he's gone. Right, next story is this is a rather interesting one. This one for some reason reminded me of one of our hosts old cars. I can't think why. This one comes from ibtimes.co.uk, and traveller faces £394 fine at JFK Airport for bringing an illegal, are you ready for this? Banana into the US.
You see.
So the person who purchased Nev's old car obviously has got a slight issue. American traveller Dylan O'Brien may be hit with a £394 or $500 fine after US customs officers flagged a prohibited item in his bag, a banana. O'Brien, who had spent 3 weeks travelling through Southeast Asia, had picked the fruit at an airport lounge in Germany during a layover on his way home to New York. Thinking nothing of it, he placed the banana in his bag as a snack for the flight. However, upon arrival at JFK Airport, customs officers questioned him about whether he had anything to declare. Confident he was carrying nothing out of the ordinary, O'Brien said no, but moments later, a sniffer dog alerted officials to his bag. When his belongings were searched, the banana was immediately spotted. An officer informed him that he had violated strict US regulations on bringing in agricultural products into the country. His passport was scanned and he was told there will be a penalty with that. While O'Brien said had not yet been officially fined, he later looked up the consequences of his mistake and was shocked to learn that he could be banned from global entry and fined $500 for the offence. He now awaits official confirmation of the penalty. So you may be asking the all-important question here that I'm sure Never's waiting with bated breath for this one. Why was the banana flagged as a prohibited item? So the US has strict customs regulations designed to protect its agriculture from foreign pests and diseases. According to US Customs and Border Protection, certain nuts, vegetables, animal products are prohibited without specific permits. Prohibited agricultural items can harbour plant pests and foreign animal diseases that could seriously damage America's crops, livestock and environment. And a large sector of the country's economic border, officials warn, and even if a traveller unknowingly carries a prohibited item, failure to declare it can result in penalties, including fines of up to $1,000, or if you're in the UK, 787 quid for first-time offenders. So, Nev, are you going to think twice about going into the US with a banana in your pocket?
Oh dear, so much material, but so little time.
Family show, ladies and gentlemen. Family show.
Quite, yes. Well, last time I was in Portland, so that was January of last year. A lady in front of me had been pulled up by the customs folks. I mean, she basically had her grocery shopping, it would appear, in her suitcase, and they were not very happy about that at all, as you can imagine. But it does say on the customs entry card, or the thing you have to fill in, you now do online sometimes, about what the prohibited items are, and you have to say very specifically that you're not carrying those into the US. But yeah, there you go. You can get caught out, can't you?
Do you know, I honestly, in my years of travelling around Europe, I've flown to the US, I've flown to various places and countries around Europe and stuff. The amount of times I've carried oranges and apples and fruit in my bag, especially apples, because I do love an apple. But I must admit, I don't think I've ever took anything into the US in my bag, unless I've put it in there from the aircraft itself. If I've got a piece of fruit given to me on the aircraft. But yeah, that does make you think, though.
So do they say to you, Mr. Stebbings, is that a banana in your pocket?
Oh, am I pleased to see them? Boom.
Oh no.
Oh no. And the chat room erupts. There we go.
I doubt it.
Bill in the chat room gives us a very interesting comment here. Bill says, lying about bringing a banana into the country must be a slippery slope to get on. It doesn't sound appealing to me.
Oh, I see what you did there. Nice.
Mark Priestley in the chat room says, this looks like a bit of monkey business. Very good. Dirk, honestly, Dirk comes out with the best ones. Can you see Dirk's comment in there, Nev? In the
Yes, he
chat
says
room?
guy was prepared to play a round of Mario Kart anytime.
If you're a fan of Mario Kart, you'll understand exactly what Dirk is meaning there. But yes, it's quite. It does make you think, though. You need to be careful when you are going into the US, especially if you're carrying a banana in your pocket. There we go.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. Right, last story up in the commercial news segment for this week, and Nev, we're taking a look at a kind of a top list here, aren't we?
Yes, although it's a plummet to the bottom for my favourite airline. It's on which.co.uk, and it's all about the best airlines for 2025. Well, British Airways has been ranked at the bottom of their annual airline survey for the first time. This is Which carrying out this survey. The British flag carrier, which says it's invested billions in improvements over the last few years, has failed to keep up with rivals such as Virgin Atlantic and Emirates, and has the joint lowest long-haul customer score along with Air Canada. Ryanair goes back to the bottom of the short-haul airlines table for 2025 after a couple of years of being rated above Wizz Air. Jet2 has once again been rated as the UK's best short-haul airline. It gets 5 stars for customer service, and thousands of passengers gave Which their views on everything from cabin cleanliness and boarding to customer service and the booking experience. There's a very large table of data in front of me, but I'm just going to give you what I would call the overall customer score. So right down at the bottom on the short-haul side of things is Ryanair with 49%, then it's Wizz Air with 51%, Lufthansa with 55%, TAP Portugal 57%, along with British Airways on 57% as well, Vueling Airlines on 60%, EasyJet 61%, Turkish 63%, TUI 64%, Aer Lingus 66%, KLM on 67%, along with Aegean Airlines. Norwegian is up there at 69%. SAS Scandinavian Airlines 71%. Loganair 72%. And Jet2 is up at the top of the shop with 80%. And I always hear very good things about Jet2 because you've flown them a lot previously as well, Carlos, haven't you?
Yeah, Jet2.
Yeah, a lot of good reports and a lot of good reviews from aircraft to, especially the 75s, when they still had them, but cabin crew and service, absolutely right up there, apparently.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, Nev, to see Loganair reach quite a lofty height there as well.
Yes.
Yeah, not an airline I've flown with before. But yeah, well, what is going on with BA there, Nev?
Oh, it depends who you get on the day. And if you look at the BA forums, it's a really mixed picture. 1 minute it's fantastic. The next minute there's, aircraft that go tech, which can happen with any airline, obviously. But they've had a particularly hard time of it with the A380s at the moment, especially the ones that were stored in Madrid during COVID. Yeah, some people say we've had a great flight. Some people have said we've had a lousy flight, and it's just extremely variable, I'm afraid. All to do with who you get on the day as part of your cabin crew experience, shall we say. And there's still a lot of aircraft which have not been updated, so all of the A380s are still on the original business class club world seats, not the new club suites themselves, and some of the 777s are looking a little bit, dated on the inside these days as well. But yeah, so they've got some way to go, and of course they've just made these massive changes to the executive club program, which I don't think is going to affect them for the next year. But I think in 18 months' time, when the revenue starts to drop off big time because people will just have got fed up with it and they'll look elsewhere. And if you're comparing them to, if you're going on the Dubai route, for example, or Middle East generally, let's say from Heathrow, London, then the Emirates comparison is massive. You know, it's a far better product than BA's will ever be on those routes, particularly.
Even in cattle class.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, you've done that, haven't you? You've done Emirates to Dubai, Matt?
And it was genuinely the best airline experience I've genuinely ever had. I mean, it was even comparable to the one time that I did business class. It was just. I mean, some of that was because the flight was chosen carefully to be a slightly quieter than usual one, and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was able to have a row to myself and all that kind of thing. I get that, but it was. And it, in many ways, it does make me feel very sad because BA was very much. It's almost an embarrassment, isn't it? Being the flag carrier these days.
Yes, and of course on Virgin Atlantic aircraft, what's written on the side of their aircraft, apart from the reg and what aircraft it is, it says Britain's flag carrier. And they've done that deliberately, because there is a flag of the United Kingdom on the winglets of the aircraft.
And it's literally physically carrying the flag, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, indeed. Are they the new, is that the legacy carrier now going forward? Who knows?
I think the legacy carriers generally, and I mean Lufthansa, Air France, and not necessarily KLM, but certainly BA. They've really struggled with the more modern products that are being offered by certainly the Middle Eastern airlines, Etihad and Emirates. Come to mind straight away.
Looking at this list, guys. Right? We always knock Ryanair and stuff. We do talk about Ryanair. Matt, obviously, it's normally story 2 for you.
Yeah, well, I very rarely knock them, though, to be honest with you.
But we've got to admit, right, as much as everyone moans about Ryanair, the prices of the flights are blooming cheap. And you can't... And, the service can be a bit questionable at times, and
God help you if something goes wrong.
Exactly. But do you know what? I personally... in all the flights I've had, and I've had quite a few flights with Ryanair, I've personally not had any rough experiences, apart from sitting in the seat 1A when I got a wet knee at Stansted.
Yeah,
but that was my own fault for sitting in seat 1A.
Yeah, but it was fine once they closed the door.
Oh, yeah, it's fine once they closed the door.
Absolutely.
I mean, the leg rooms are amazing in seat 1A.
Out of this world.
But I just as much as we do, we do mock them sometimes on the show, but you can't if you're paying 50 quid, to one way to fly over to Dublin. I mean, Nev, you can't do that in a car, could you?
Absolutely right. And so Ryanair aren't really advertising anything that they're not really offering. No. They've said what the price is going to be, and they'll get you safely there. And if there's problems, they'll do their best to accommodate you on other flights or whatever it is if they've got a tech problem down route or something like that.
Exactly.
And actually, Dirk S makes a very good point in the chat room. He says, "What does flag carrier even mean today? Yeah. BA isn't even independent anymore." Very true.
Yeah, I suppose we sort of hang on to a nostalgia almost. I think, Nev, don't we? Really, with these things.
Yes, I've tried to do that, but I'm failing miserably, unfortunately.
And now they've made it impossible. Now that you've given up work.
Yeah, exactly right.
I think that the days of Freddie Laker and Dan Air and that kind of thing never are long gone.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I think
if you can remember Dan Air.
Yes, and we can look at it through rose-tinted spectacles, can't we?
Yeah.
About how it used to be. But no, and if you think about how the airlines are today, I mean, the whole commercial operations, I mean, they could not be more different in terms of the destinations they fly to, the frequency of the flying, the low-cost carrier element of it. It's a different industry to the one it was 20 years ago. It's and there's been some, let's be honest, there's been some massive advances in terms of fuel efficiency from the engines of the aircraft and the price you pay for your ticket. So if you want to pay an expensive price, then you can do that. If you want to pay a cheap price, then you just need to book the flight earlier if you know that you're going to go, and you can get some great deals going around Europe especially. But yeah, it's a different world, guys.
It is. Right, now for the next part of the show, which for certain members of our PTUK family in the chat room is their favourite part of the show. Well, visually anyway.
Is Gemma back putting the shopping away?
No,
Is that
no.
right, okay.
No. But Nev, who are we taking a look at this week?
Well, it's the 747, of course. And this week we head back to 1985 to an airline that probably had the best approach in the world and the Queen of the Skies.
When you're on your way home, isn't it nice to know there's Cathay Pacific to fly you back to Hong Kong? Fly home with Cathay Pacific. Arrive in better shape.
Sorry, it's doing it by code off the email.
Oh, wow. I think I remember that.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
I think I remember that.
And that awesome approach, Nev, into Kai Tak Airport.
Yeah, always one for the simulators as well, isn't it? I seem to remember the Concorde simulator at Brooklands. We did an approach into Kai Tak. You can still do that today if you want. In fact, I'm going back there at the end of March for my retirement present that the company's bought for me. So
nice.
Looking forward to going down there. But great stuff, isn't it? And again, Cathay Pacific, 1985 on a 747 doesn't get a lot better than that, does it? Really, if you think about it. But yeah.
Actually, there's a video. There's a video on YouTube of one of the boneyards over in the US, and I always remember seeing the old Cathay Pacific 74s sitting there, and they kind of done a walkthrough of one of these aircraft that had been there for a number of years, and it's incredible to see inside what it was like on the Queen of the Skies when Cathay were using using them heavily as well on routes all across the globe. But I don't know what Cathay Pacific are like now, Nev. Whether
I've not flown them ever. I don't think. No, I haven't. When I went to Hong Kong, no, I didn't. No, I didn't actually. No, I didn't. I didn't go to Hong Kong. It was Singapore I went to. Sorry, so it was with Singapore Airlines. I was getting confused with them. So, but yeah, I would like to have another go at some point, but we'll never be going back to Kai Tak, of course.
No. Only on a sim. On a sim.
Yeah.
Yeah, but actually, did all our sim visits we've had? Have we ever tried that on the? Because we've been in the sim in various different places many times. I don't think any of us ever tried.
No, we didn't.
Kai Tak approach, did we? Perhaps that's one that we need to do, Nev. Perhaps next time we go. But. Yes. Well, more retro airline ads of the week next week. Might do a double one next week. We'll do a double bubble next week.
Yeah.
Right. Time for Nev's favourite part of the show. You'll all know what that one is. Matt, if you're ready.
Blast up bogeys 135, 50, Angel 16, heading 340. Okay. Now there's a boogie.
Tell you what, it's always poor old Boeing. I do feel sorry for Boeing, on the show. The first story comes from TWZ.com. Cracks in K-46 tankers halt deliveries. The Air Force will inspect its entire fleet of 89 KC-46A Pegasus aerial refueling tankers after cracks were found in 2 of the 4 brand new planes set to be sent to the Military Delivery Centre, the Air Force told Warzone exclusively this week. The issue was discovered by Boeing, which makes the jets, the Air Force has said. In addition, Boeing is taking measures to temporarily halt deliveries until they fully understand the root cause and implement a corrective and effective plan, they said. the query about the latest problems with the troubled Pegasus program. And after the inspection, if any cracks are found, the aircraft will undergo repairs before flying again, the Air Force explained. The cracks were not found on any flight surfaces or hinges. Oh, that's good then. But rather on the primary or secondary structures, the Air Force told us. Boeing said it's working to fix the problem. They said we are working closely with the customer to assess the potential issues on the KC-46A aircraft and to mitigate any potential impact on the fleet and in production aircraft, the company told the Warzone after an inquiry about the cracks. The Pegasus program has been beset by problems even before they were delivered. It was years behind schedule before the flying branch received its KC-46As in January 2019. As we've previously said on this show, efforts are still ongoing to fix the long-standing and serious problems with not only the KC-46 boom, but also the remote vision system that the boom operators use to guide it into receiving aircraft. These are just two of the many issues that have impacted the program. Boeing is currently under contract to address issues with stiffness in the boom on the KC-46, a fix that involves hardware and software changes. And as for the remote vision systems, or RVS, the contractor is integrating an entirely new version of this into the tanker. And the decision was taken after multiple problems with the original RVS, which was found to be potentially dangerous to use, as well as a potential risk making boom operations, or boom operators, I should say, physically ill. Ouch. So not only is it dangerous to use, but for the operator using this visual system for guiding obviously the boom onto the refuel or the aircraft that's refueling, it makes you feel ill.
Oh, they can't get a break with this bloody aircraft.
I know.
Oh, God.
Jonathan Warner, if you're listening, what's going on here? Honestly.
I don't know what to say, really. Well, all I would say is that it says Boeing is addressing issues with stiffness in the boom. Well, I've had a bit of that myself, but I just put a bit of WD-40 on it, and it, you know.
Do you know, I'm really worried where we were going with that for a minute.
So I have asked the question in the chat room, and I'm expecting some
filth.
Inappropriate answers. Probably.
Back to seriousness just before you descend into that, Nev. Let's not forget that the KC-46 derives from probably one of Boeing's most best aircraft. I think they produced 767.
76, yeah.
So yeah, I think it is. Well, the thing of it is, once you start adding bits on, wanging bits onto aircraft, I think that's where the issues start to start.
I wonder what would have happened, and obviously you can't really fully answer this question, but had they not tried to adapt a 767 and did a complete clean sheet, I'm sure we've asked this question before, many years ago now, they might have had a slightly different result. But it's been endless problems with this program, hasn't it? It really has.
Yeah, it's a shame, but
yeah, no, I agree.
Fingers crossed they'll sort this problem out, because I don't think they could afford to lose too many more dollars down the proverbial.
Well, no. The chat room has been very active.
What are we saying, Nev?
In the last few minutes.
I dread to think.
Some of those things we may not be able to read out just yet.
Oh, brilliant.
So we might spoil our clean rating.
Yes,
but thank you for your contribution, boys and girls. Very nice.
Oh, dear.
Matt's just seen some of those, clearly. But anyway.
Oh, no, you're right. We can't read any of those out, Nev. Oh, no.
Oh, dear.
Oh, no.
I'm just bringing the chat room up now. Let's have a look.
Oh, no, it's too late for you, dear. No,
it's
too late. Save yourself. It's far too innocent for that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, anyway, there's some good comments in there.
Moving on.
Moving on. Nev, you've got the next story, and there are there's some two lovely pictures of this, actually, for this story in the folder, Matt.
Yes, it's on the taskandpurpose.com website, and it says that Air Force's newest plane, the Skyraider 2, honours a legendary aircraft. Well, Air Force Special Operation Command's newest airplane has been named the Sky Raider 2, which is a tribute to the legendary A-1 Sky Raider, which saw service in Korea and Vietnam and was made famous by movies such as We Were Soldiers and Flight of the Intruder. Lieutenant General Michael Conley, who's Air Force Special Operations Commander, said in a statement, "I'm excited about the Sky Raider 2. I think we have a capability that's only ours, and we are going to have the ability to shape that into something that the rest of the nation might not even know they need right now." Well, the single-engine turboprop OA-1K Sky Raider 2 is designed for short takeoffs and landings and to be able to operate from unimproved or austere airfields, an AFSOC news release says. The first Sky Raider 2 is expected to arrive at Hurlburt Field, Florida, in the spring. He says that the character of war is swiftly evolving, and the modularity of the Sky Raider 2 will provide special operations forces with the ability to tailor effects to support the joint force in various missions. AFSOC Public Affairs said in a statement to Task and Purpose on Friday, "This aircraft may seem unassuming, but it could bring the warfighter precision target strikes as well as advanced armed intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance." Defence contractors Air Tractor and L3 Harris received a $3 billion contract in August 2022 to provide modified AT-802U Skywarden light attack aircraft for US Special Operation Command's armed Overwatch program. Sky Raider 2 will not only be able to carry out precision airstrikes to support troops on the ground, but it will also fly armed intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance missions, an AFSOC news release says. Providing scalable and precision effects is where the Sky Raider 2 will come in. The Sky Raider 2 could also take on missions from the southwest border to Africa and create dilemmas to those that we are in competition with, says Brigadier General Craig Prather, who's AFSOC's Director of Strategic Plans, Programs and Requirements, said in a statement. The OA-1K is the latest aircraft to pay homage to a legendary plane. The A-10 Thunderbolt II gets its name from the P-47 from World War II, a rugged aircraft that provides close air support for American GIs and is credited with destroying more than 7,000 enemy aircraft in the European theatre, more of half of which were air-to-air kills. The F-35 Lightning II is likewise named for the P-38, a World War II aircraft that was used on a mission to kill Japanese Admiral Isokuru Yamamoto, the mastermind behind the Pearl Harbor attack in April 1943. The original Sky Raider A1 saw service from 1946 to the early 1980s. The aircraft provided firepower to Air Command Special Operations during the Korean War. Later, Major General Bernard Fisher and Lieutenant Colonel William A. Jones III were both awarded the Medal of Honor for flying missions in Sky Raiders during the Vietnam War. Excuse me. Gosh, the original aircraft saw service from 1946 to the early 1980s. Isn't that incredible?
And they do look awesome aircraft as well.
Yeah.
These do as well, when you see these up close. But, yeah, good little bits of pictures there as well. Always good to see those on now. I'm glad they come out, Matt, because I'd struggled to get those two. I had to kind of screen grab those in the end because they wouldn't, but glad they were on there. But, that is it for the military news for this week. And, so we're going to have a quick discussion, discussion on the air shows we're going to be attending this year, because we are going to be hopefully this year attending a few of the air shows across the UK. First one that we're going to get to is the Duxford Summer Air Show. This is happening on June the 21st. So if you're in the UK in June. The 21st will be over at Duxford, where we normally meet up. We have a kind of a Duxford Air Show meet up there in the summertime usually. We had a good one last year, didn't we, guys? We got together and met quite a few of our listeners as well. So that's the 21st of June. That's a Saturday. You can find out more info on the Imperial War Museum's website for Duxford. The tickets are on sale, and if you're an Imperial War Museum member, like me and Matt are, you get a discount on your tickets as well for that. And don't forget, there's also, you can get your parking pass as well if you're attending for the air show for the day. We are hopefully going to be off to the Shuttleworth Summer Show in July. That's on the 26th of July for their summer show. Our first time there. As the PTUK, our first time there, which is going to be good. Looking forward to that as well.
No, you and I went in COVID to Shuttleworth.
No, we went to the one we went to in COVID was I think the name.
That was still Shuttleworth though.
Oh, was it Shuttleworth? I don't think it was.
Yeah.
You get that one?
Yeah, because
we
had our own parking bay, didn't we, with big gap round us because of the COVID restrictions.
COVID, was it Shuttleworth? I can't remember that one.
And a picnic table.
Yeah, picnic tables and all sorts. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, perhaps we'll do the same again this year.
I think Mr. Warner joined us as well. There was lots of yeah.
Yes.
It was
in August.
Day. It was a marvellous day.
It was a marvellous day, even with the COVID. August the 2nd, if you are in Ireland, you may be in Ireland, you never know. If you're in Ireland, August the 2nd, me and Nev are off to the Bray Air Show. Looking forward to that one, Nev, aren't we?
Yes, very much so. And with a bit of help from our chum, Alan White, he's in discussion with the organisers, or will be soon, about if we can get us some press passes and some exclusive access to bits and pieces. But yes, I'll be bringing the car over as well. So I'll be having Mrs. Nev with me, so I should be introducing her to the delights of air shows.
I bet she can't wait.
No. And then we're going off for a little run, sojourn around the Republic of Ireland after
lovely.
that. So that'll be quite nice, yeah.
Oh, that will be lovely. That will be absolutely nice. She will love that. She really will. It is a beautiful part of the world.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
And then we are going to have our annual PTUK meetup in September on the 20th, all being well. This is where we get a chance to get together at our local airfield here, which is just around the corner from me and Matt at Beccles Airfield. We're going to have a meetup there, 20th of September, so plenty of time ahead. You've got to plan now if you fancy travelling up. There is accommodation there. We'll put some details together for this on our socials as well, but there'll be accommodation available there if you want to stay the night. It's quite nice accommodation as well. It's what they call glamping. It's quite nice, quite posh. But that's the 20th of September. We'd love to have as many of you there as we can. I will obviously be. I think our bed and breakfast will be full here. I think at the house here, I'd imagine on that date. But
you have a bed and breakfast.
Well, we normally generally tend to. But, 20th of September for the PTUK, sort of towards the end of summer meetup there, which we enjoyed last year. We had a really nice day last year. The weather was absolutely spot on.
It was.
And, we got the chance.
A couple of showers, but it weren't the end of the world, was it? It was really nice.
And it's a nice airfield as well. If you've not been to, not flown into Beccles Airfield, it is a lovely airfield now with a great load of team members there. And, It's going to be a good day, all being well. 20th of September, that one. And in between kind of all those air shows, we hope to be doing some filming and some interviewing at some of our local museums here in the area, because we've got some very, very nice museums right on our doorstep here in Suffolk, which we're going to be hoping to do some filming at and some interviewing at, and one of which is the one that featured on the Masters of the Air series for the Thorpe Abbotts airfield. We're going to be doing some filming there as well, which is looking forward to that very much indeed. Right, quick walk round then to see what everyone's up to this week. You may have noticed as well, for those of you watching in the world of YouTube, we have lost Andy. Andy's had to disappear because he's had a few issues with tech this evening. Namely, I think he's gone back to 56k dial-up, Matt.
I can neither confirm or deny that.
Yeah, but hopefully Andy will be back with us next week. But Nev, I know you are. Well, you're relaxing these days, but any exciting?
I've got
lawnmower. Lawnmower.
He's not relaxing.
Well, I've got some massive stuff going on here. Tomorrow, we are going to choose a new ensuite for the bathroom.
Oh, hello. That's quite that's an important decision.
Yeah. So we're going to.
And you're allowed to be involved in that, are you? That's exciting.
Well, I'm told that I should be.
Right,
I should take more of an interest.
Right.
That's the real thing.
Yeah. That's much more. Yeah.
And what are we going to do? Oh, yes. Probably by Saturday, I'll have bought a new lawnmower as well. So that's pretty exciting, isn't it? We just sold the old one today. So that's great.
I have to ask the question, though, Nev. What prompted the sale of the old one?
It was just a little bit difficult to start occasionally, but it was from 2007. So, yeah, it was just, a little bit hard going sometimes. So I've got one of those new battery ones. Which is basically the same chassis as the old lawnmower, the battery version rather than the petrol one. So that'll be good. Spent a long time clearing up all the rubbish off of my Mac computer, so suddenly it runs an awful lot quicker.
Does it?
As well, I've taken all my work stuff off of it, and things like Microsoft Teams, which is a bit chunky on the Mac. I don't know what everybody else is finding on there.
No, it's the same on Windows. It doesn't matter which one it is. Is it? As I say, it's just like it's having a deep cleanse, isn't it?
Yes,
I bet there was a lot of joy in deleting these various products.
There was some stuff that I just horrific. Anyway, so what else? That's about it, I think. Yeah, but no, I've been very well occupied the last 4 weeks, I must say. No shortage of things to do.
No.
There's a comment in the chat room, Nev, especially for you, from Richard Adams, says he bets the ensuite will be in BA livery.
I bet it won't.
That's an idea, isn't it? That's an idea.
Right, yeah, good luck getting that one past Mrs. Nev.
Gosh, yeah.
Good luck with that.
But Mark is asking, is the car staying? Well, the ST is already gone, so I sold that at the end of October, so I've got the Ford Cougar now, which is a far more sensible car, and one that I can actually get in and out of properly.
Very good.
So that's been quite good. So yeah,
indeed.
So there we go. So that's me for the next few days.
Nice.
Excellent. Mr. Smith, anything? Obviously, you've got a busy weekend lined up this weekend.
Yeah, usual commitments for the weekend. Do feel free to tune in if you wish to. Carlos will also be making a debut appearance on a Saturday afternoon as well. So yeah, do join both of us for that. That's what we tend to do on a Saturday, and then me on a Sunday.
Yeah.
But I do have, if I may, gentlemen, I do have some exciting news.
Oh, do please tell us.
I can see you're both extremely.
I nearly spilt my.
Nev is on tenterhooks. He nearly nodded off.
I've already primed the chat room for a massive announcement.
Have you? Right. Okay. Here we go then. So, no pressure. Now we have been without a sort of like a WhatsApp number for a very, very, very long time, and it gives me great pleasure to announce that we finally have a new WhatsApp number, and it's up and running. So, if your dream, like me, is to keep Carlos up most of the night by sending messages through, because he is quite stupid and forgets to turn off his notifications, and then they don't wake him up, they wake up Gemma, and then he's in lots of trouble and has to move into the spare room and all sorts of things. If, like me, you enjoy causing such distress, then why not pop Carlos a message to the following number. It is +44 or 0 if you're here in the UK. +44 7446 975 214. +44 7446 975 214. There we are. Everybody's tapping away on their devices.
Oh, there's no kind of aviation connotation with that number.
Yeah, I tried. Believe me, I tried.
Oh, actually, hold on. There is.
Oh no!
I've just noticed one.
Oh, go on.
Nev, Queen of the Skies.
There's 744 in there, isn't there?
Ah, yes.
Yes.
Of course. Yeah. The 744.
How about that?
There we are. That'll do.
Yeah.
All right. We'll cling on to that then, shall we?
No, it's not Star Trek.
And 214 is the version of the A320 that BA operate as well.
well, there we go. You see.
Oh,
A320
here we
that's
go.
it. 214.
Oh, bravo, Mr. Smith, for getting us that number.
Thank you very much. Yes, I worked very hard on that. You two need help. That's all I'm saying.
Gemma tells me that all the time.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Nev has very kindly popped it into the chat if you're listening and watching on YouTube. I have also added it to this week's show notes as well. But that number again, +44 7446 975 214. That's +44.
And I can confirm
7446 975 214. Here we go.
we have our first WhatsApper.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Does it say bum willy bum? Sorry.
No, it doesn't. No.
Wow.
It's a very lovely message from the listener Dirk.
Oh, wonderful.
Dirk
Good.
S. in the
That's
chat.
what we like to hear. Good. Excellent. Yeah. Love it. Good. There we are. So that's up and running. Share far and wide. That is a direct line to Carlos.
No, thanks.
And the rest of the team will have access to it when this call finishes, because the only way we can share it is via a web browser, Nev, and that would require us sharing our screen. So we'll do that when we're not broadcasting to the rest of the world. Yes. Very good.
Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Well, that is where we are going to wrap up the show for this week. But before we do, Nev, for the benefit of our lovely listeners and those who might be listening via a audio podcast, where can they find more about us?
Yes, of course, on the socials. It's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and LinkedIn. Just search those platforms for Plain Talking UK. You can email the show, podcast@plaintalkinguk.com. And the website, of course, is plaintalkinguk.com. We have a new WhatsApp number, as you've just been told. It is +44 7446 975 214. That's +44 7446 975 214, and we'd be delighted to hear from you or see some of your aviation pictures as well.
Yeah, definitely send in the pictures. We would love that. Also, you can send us voice notes via that as well. Sometimes that's a lot easier than sort of generating an email and or sending it via Facebook Messenger and things, because that we know how that can be. So WhatsApp, you can use that. You could do all sorts of bits and pieces with that, as I say. And I would be very proud of you all if you could do your best to keep Carlos for awake as long as possible.
Oh dear.
Fantastic.
And actually, yeah, and on that note, like the guys are saying there, if you do want to send a picture to go on the green screen behind me here, yes, this is a green screen. I've not got an Airbus A400M behind me. If you want to send a picture there, we would love that. And also, Nev as well has got that ability, as well as Matt as well. If you fancy sending us your aviation-related pictures, we'll pop them up behind us on here as well, and you also get a nice little shout out as well. So that's all good. But yeah, in fact, that is it. So for the show, thanks everyone for tuning in this week to episode 541. My word, guys, we're nearly at 550. We will be back, all being well, next Wednesday. Fingers crossed Andy will be back with us. We might be able to get Nick back with us as well next week. So that is it. Have a great weekend and rest of the week, whatever you're up to. And from me, Carlos, here in my home studio, from Matt in the Master Suite Studios, and from Nev in his home studio as well. Take care, everyone, and say goodbye, Matt.
Goodbye, Matt. There we are. Good news, you've melted his phone. I'm so proud of you all.
Yes, hello, Captain Cruz. Richard Flagg as well. Good evening to you. Thanks for sending us some pictures through. We've got some pictures. We've already got some pictures, which is great because that means I can obviously forward these on to the team and we can choose who's going to have what next week on the show. So that's always good.
Marvellous. Yeah, appreciate that. No, great. Yeah, great to have it back. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to get it sorted. It's just I was trying desperately to get the old one back. Basically, we got hacked and somebody took it away from us. So I shut the number down so that they couldn't use it. Yes.
Sorry, I'm just looking at Captain Cruz just sent me a picture through of. Do you remember Air UK, Nev?
I do. Yes.
With the BAC 111s.
Yeah.
Yeah, Captain Cruz has just sent me through a slightly doctored version of that aircraft with PT UK.
I see what you did there. Yeah.
Excellent.
Love that. Now that's efficient work. That is very efficient work.
Yes, thank you, Captain Cruz. Much appreciated. But yes, this is exciting.
Yep.
WhatsApp number back.
Absolutely, indeed.
Excellent.
Yeah. So we'll say goodbye then. We're going to do a little bit of admin before we finish things here, so that Nev and myself can have access to it as well. But yes, basically it's going directly through to Carlos's phone. So there you are. What a treat for you all.
I know. Right.
Indeed.
That's it then. Thanks again, everyone. Thank you, PTUK family. We love you all. Thank you for tuning in, as always, this week. And, as we said, have a great rest of the week, whatever you're up to. And final words from you, Mr. Bounds.
Yes, thanks everybody for great contributions in the chat room. Very amusing, only some of which we could read out this evening.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. In the meantime, I hope you have a great rest of the week and the weekend. We'll be back at 7 o'clock UK time next Wednesday. So bye for now.